All right, let's dive right into this explainer and completely shatter that whole Hollywood illusion of heroic jungle survival. We've all seen the movies, right? The rugged protagonist gets stranded in the vast Amazon rainforest, crafts a makeshift spear out of bamboo, easily snacks on some exotic fruits, and dramatically wrestles a giant snake on dry land before just walking home. Look, it makes for fantastic cinema, but scientifically, biologically, the reality of the Amazon is a profoundly different, overwhelmingly hostile story. Today we're going to look at the hard scientific data drawn from the world's largest rainforest. We're talking about a colossal 5.5 million square kilometer wilderness that spans 9 countries and houses over 3 million species. We are going to unpack exactly why, if you were to truly find yourself alone in the deep Amazon, making it out alive is practically impossible.
Hollywood portrays the Amazon's threats as, well, obvious and manageable. Dangers you can actually see coming. But the real Amazon is an environment perfectly optimized over millions of years to break down and consume biological matter. And out there, a human being is just another piece of biological matter. We're going to break down the passive environmental threats, the unseen microscopic killers, the terrifying creatures lurking in the rivers, the apex predators, and finally, the most unpredictable danger of all.
So, let's get into part 1, surviving the hostile environment.
Picture yourself walking through the deep jungle. You might be imagining bright, dappled sunlight filtering beautifully through the trees. Well, the reality is actually represented by this number, 1%. The canopy of the Amazon is so incredibly thick, with branches and leaves woven tightly together into this massive biological roof, that only about 1% of sunlight actually reaches the forest floor. What does that mean for you? It means even at high noon, it is virtually pitch black down there. If you don't have a compass or GPS, basic navigation by tracking the sun is completely impossible. You would just walk in circles, utterly disoriented in the dark.
And if the darkness doesn't disorient you, the water absolutely will wear you down. The Amazon is a tropical rainforest, which means it gets hit with over 3,000 millimeters of rainfall annually. And we aren't just talking about a light drizzle here. These are torrential, days-long downpours. Within minutes of being stranded, your clothes are completely soaked through. Without a dry, secure shelter, which, by the way, is nearly impossible to build in the relentless wet, the constant moisture and dropping temperatures will drastically lower your core body temperature.
That constant, relentless rain leads directly to this, hypothermia. Medical science defines this as your body temperature dropping below 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. In the middle of a dense jungle, without the ability to start a fire because literally everything is soaking wet, this sets in rapidly. First, your brain function slows down. You get confused. You start making fatal decisions. Eventually, as the days pass in the cold and wet, your internal organs just simply shut down, one by one. The environment itself physically drains the life out of you.
Okay, so you're freezing, you're lost in the dark, and now you are starving. Naturally, you decide to forage, but a lush jungle doesn't actually mean abundant human food. In fact, over 80% of wild Amazonian fruits, tubers, and leaves are highly toxic to our bodies. If extreme hunger drives you to eat just one wrong leaf or small fruit, the consequences are immediate and severe. You'll experience violent vomiting and diarrhea. In an environment where you don't have access to clean drinking water, this causes rapid, catastrophic dehydration. Within just 3 days, your body will be totally immobilized and death follows shortly after.
Which brings us to part 2, tiny and toxic threats.
If the environment doesn't get you, the things you can barely see definitely will. The Amazon maintains a staggering humidity level of over 80%. This high heat and moisture create the ultimate paradise for bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Let's say you get a tiny scratch from a thorn while walking. Within hours, it's severely infected. But even worse are the sandflies. A single bite can introduce a terrifying parasite that causes leishmaniasis. This is literally a flesh-eating disease where your tissues begin to dissolve and melt away. If you're stuck in the jungle without immediate access to modern medicine and antibiotics, a microscopic pathogen from a nearly invisible fly becomes a guaranteed death sentence in just a matter of weeks.
Then we've got the insects. The Amazon is home to the bullet ant. Researchers who've been stung report that the pain is virtually indistinguishable from being shot with a real gun, and that agonizing pain lasts for a full 24 hours. But it gets worse. If you accidentally stumble into one of their nests, you won't get stung just once. Hundreds will swarm you. The sheer volume of neurotoxin injected into your body triggers a massive fever, violent convulsions, total muscle failure, and ultimately unconsciousness leading to death.
And the lethal microdosing doesn't stop with the bugs. Look at this number, 10. That is the number of fully grown human adults that a single 1-inch poison dart frog can kill. These tiny frogs, which are usually bright yellow, blue, or red, secrete a natural venom called batrachoxytoxin. It's one of the most lethal natural poisons on Earth. You don't even have to eat the frog. If you're foraging for a leaf or just trying to clear your path and you merely brush against the skin of this tiny amphibian, the toxin absorbs right through your own skin. Within minutes, your heart will simply stop beating.
So you're dealing with constant swarms of insects, unbearable heat, and the threat of venomous frogs in the foliage? Your natural human instinct might be to seek the water. You might think the river offers a cool, safe reprieve from the nightmare of the jungle floor. But let's see why making that assumption is a profoundly fatal miscalculation.
Let's look at part 3, Monsters of the Water.
Take this seemingly harmless half-inch translucent fish known as the candiru. If you step into the river to relieve yourself, the candiru instantly detects the chemical scent of urine in the water. It uses that scent trail to swim directly up into the human urinary or reproductive tract. Once inside, it lodges itself in place and actually begins feeding on your flesh and blood from the inside out. This causes excruciating pain and massive internal bleeding. And because of the way it anchors itself with tiny spikes, it can't simply be pulled out. It requires immediate, complex surgical removal. Deep in the Amazon, without a surgeon, a candiru encounter is a horrific, slow, and guaranteed death.
And hey, if the candiru misses you, stepping into the wrong stretch of river means you might encounter the legendary piranha. These fish do not hunt alone. They strike in massive, frenzied swarms. With their razor-sharp teeth and aggressive pack behavior, a school of piranhas can literally strip the flesh off the bones of any animal, humans included, in just a matter of minutes. Definitely not the relaxing river bath you were hoping for.
Moving on to part 4, the apex predators. If you've somehow survived the flora, the bugs, and the rivers, you now enter the domain of the megapredators. The undisputed king here is the jaguar. Unlike lions or tigers, jaguars have a uniquely terrifying set of skills perfectly tailored for the jungle. They're exceptional tree climbers and incredibly skilled swimmers, which means literally nowhere is safe. They don't confront you head-on. Their hunting tactic is to ambush silently from behind, and they possess one of the strongest bite forces of any big cat, strong enough to effortlessly crush thick turtle shells. If a jaguar stalks you, the very first and only thing you will know about it is its jaws crushing your skull from behind. Now remember how we discussed the canopy making the Amazon pitch black? At night, humans are completely, hopelessly blind out there. But creatures like the black caiman, a massive species of crocodile that can grow 15 to 20 feet long, they see perfectly in the dark. They wait silently at the edges of rivers and swamps. When a blinded, exhausted human wanders into their territory, they strike with lightning speed, easily capable of dragging a person underwater and swallowing them whole before the victim even registers what hit them.
And then, of course, there's the green anaconda, the heaviest snake on the planet, weighing upwards of 250 kilograms and reaching lengths of 25 feet. Forget what you see in the movies where massive snakes chase screaming victims on dry land. In reality, the anaconda is an aquatic ambush predator. It waits perfectly still in the mud and swamp water. Step near it and it strikes, pulling you right in. It doesn't use venom. It wraps its massive coils around you, and every single time you exhale, it squeezes tighter, completely preventing your lungs from expanding again. It crushes your bones under its immense weight, leading to rapid organ failure before swallowing its prey whole. Once those coils are around you, without a team of people to help, survival is 100% impossible.
Finally, we reach part 5, the ultimate human threat.
Deep within the vast expanse of the rainforest, completely isolated from modern civilization, there are over 100 uncontacted indigenous tribes. These are entire communities that live exactly as they have for thousands of years, entirely self-sufficient and completely cut off from the globalized world.
Now, if you wander into their territory, they are not going to see you as a lost traveler in need of a hand. Historical experience has taught them that any outsider is an existential, lethal threat to their land and their lives. There is no negotiation here, and there will be no attempt at communication. They use the dense foliage to launch silent, perfectly coordinated ambushes from the shadows, using spears and arrows tipped with the exact same lethal natural poisons we talked about earlier. You won't even see them until it is far, far too late.
And this extreme hostility, it really comes down to one thing: biological survival. Because these tribes have been isolated for generations, They have absolutely zero immunity to modern diseases. A stranded hiker carrying a simple, common cold virus or mild flu could inadvertently unleash a plague that wipes out their entire civilization in a matter of weeks. They know from tragic historical encounters that sparing an intruder's life could literally mean the death of their entire tribe. Their immediate, lethal response is simply their only form of natural defense.
So, when you put all of this together, the true nature of the Amazon becomes pretty clear. It is undeniably one of the most breathtakingly beautiful and ecologically vital places on Earth. But scientifically speaking, it is an environment that is perfectly optimized to destroy and recycle human life. From the blinding darkness and hypothermia-inducing rains, to flesh-eating parasites and neurotoxic frogs, to bone-crushing predators and fiercely defensive tribes, survival out here is not a fun cinematic adventure. It's a brutal biological war, both microscopic and macroscopic, that a lone human being is fundamentally unequipped to win.
So knowing the sheer biological terror waiting out there in the dark canopy, the toxic waters, and the muddy swamps, which of these Amazonian threats terrifies you the most? Is it the unseen parasites, the crushing coils of the anaconda, or just the overwhelming power of the jungle itself? Leave us your thoughts and stay curious as we continue to unpack the science behind the world's most extreme environments in our next explainer.